The sensors on the research vessel picked up something strange. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge and watched the readings flash across the screen. The anomaly did not match anything in the galactic database. It was in the Kepler sector, a region that most traders avoided because it had few resources and little profit. Jake had explored space for 15 years. He knew when something was wrong. The energy signature came from a location marked as empty on all official maps. No one lived there. No one worked there. No station should exist there. He made the decision to investigate. His crew of 12 was small but experienced. They had discovered 3 new star systems in the past 2 years. They were good at finding things that others missed. The ship moved closer to the source. As they approached, more details became clear. There was a large structure hidden behind an asteroid field. It was well concealed. If they had not been looking for the exact energy signature, they would have missed it completely. Jake ordered the ship to slow down. He did not know what they would find. The structure was too large to be a mining operation. It was too organized to be a settlement. When they were close enough to scan it, the readings shocked everyone on the bridge. Life signs. Thousands of them, crammed together in a space designed for maybe a few hundred people. Jake opened the communication channel to his second officer, Commander Lisa Park. She was in the science station below the bridge, analyzing the readings. "Captain, you are seeing this?" she asked before he could speak. "I see it," Jake said. "I do not understand it." "The life signs are from different species," Lisa said. Her voice was steady, but Jake could hear tension underneath. "At least 20 different species. Some are very young. Children." Jake felt something cold move through his body. Children did not end up in secret stations by accident. "Get me a closer scan," he ordered. The images came through seconds later. The children were in cages. Long rows of metal boxes stacked against the walls of massive tunnels. Some tunnels glowed with the light of crystal formation. The children were being made to work. Jake had seen slavery before in old Earth videos and historical records. He had studied it to understand human history. But seeing it happen in real time, billions of miles from home, was different. This was not a memory. This was happening right now. "Bring up all the records we have on this sector," Jake commanded. "Check for any reports about operations here." Lisa worked fast. Minutes passed. Then she said the words that made everything clear. "Captain, there are no official records. No permits. No commerce licenses. This station is completely hidden from the Galactic Commerce Authority." Jake understood the meaning immediately. If the authority did not know about this place, then someone powerful was hiding it from them. Or worse, the authority knew and was allowing it. He assembled his team in the conference room. 11 people sat around the table. He told them what they had found. "We cannot ignore this," said Dr. Marcus Kim, the medical officer. "Those are children. They need help. We need to be smart about this," said Engineer Paul Washington. "If this is hidden for a reason, approaching it directly could put us in danger. We have a responsibility," added Lisa. "We have the power to help. That means we have the obligation." Jake listened to his team argue for an hour. He respected their opinions. Finally, he made the decision. "We do 2 things," he said. "First, we gather all the evidence we can. We record everything. We document the location, the operations, the number of people involved, everything. Second, we send an encrypted message to Earth. We let them know what we found." "What about the children?" asked Dr. Kim. "Do we just watch them work?" "We watch, we record, and we figure out how to help them," Jake said. "But we do it smart. We do it in a way that makes a difference." The team moved into action. They used passive scanners to avoid being detected. They recorded thermal imaging of the tunnels and the children working in the crystal mines. They counted the number of beings inside the station. They tracked movement patterns to understand the schedule. The more they watched, the worse it became. The children were not fed enough. Some were too thin. Many moved slowly, as if exhausted. Guards with weapons made them work long hours. The guards did not hesitate to use violence. Jake recorded messages to send back to Earth. He explained what they found. He included all the data, all the images, all the evidence. He made clear that this operation was large and organized. Someone with power was running this. Someone with resources. He also made clear something else. They had found humans. Among all the different alien children, there were human children. Young humans aged between 8 and 14. They had the same markings as the Lost Harmony colony, a human settlement that had disappeared 50 years ago. Everyone thought they were dead. They were not dead. They were slaves. Jake sent the messages through a tight beam. Transmission directed back toward Earth. The encryption was military grade. No one in this sector would intercept it. Then he waited. His crew gathered data. The children continued to work. The guards continued to use violence. Jake watched it all and recorded it all. 3 days passed. On the 4th day, automated defense systems suddenly activated around the station. Alarms blared. Lights flashed red dot. Someone had detected them. Jake made a split-second decision. He ordered the ship to move away, to retreat out of range. There was no point in fighting. There was every point in getting home with the data they had collected. As the ship accelerated away from the station, Jake watched the readings. The station was on alert, but no ships launched to pursue them. The defense systems tracked them briefly, then lost interest. They had escaped. The evidence was safe. Now, they had to make sure the rest of the galaxy knew what was happening here. Jake stood alone on the bridge as his ship jumped to faster than light speed. Somewhere behind them, children were working in the dark, mining crystals for people who profited from their suffering. Jake made a promise to himself. Humanity would learn about this, and humanity would act, no matter what it cost. The message arrived at 3 a.m. Earth time. Emma Rodriguez was asleep when the alert woke her. She was the first contact ambassador for the United Nations. Every message that came through the deep space relay was routed to her secure. Location first. Emma read the decoded message from Captain Jake Morrison. She read it twice. Then she read it a third time. By the time she finished, she knew her night was over. She contacted Director Nathan Brooks at the UN Security Office. He arrived at her office 30 minutes later, still half asleep. Emma handed him the message. She watched his face as he read it. She saw the moment understanding hit him. His jaw tightened. His eyes hardened. "This is real?" he asked. "It is real," Emma said. "Morrison is thorough. He would not send this without being certain. The evidence is attached. Thousands of thermal readings. Video footage. All verified." Nathan sat down slowly. "Thousands of children. Different species. And humans," Emma said. "Children from the lost colony." Nathan stood up. "We need to call an emergency session, now." The Security Council convened at 7 a.m. 12 nations had representatives present. Emma presented the data Captain Morrison had sent. She showed the images of the mining operation. She explained the location, the scale, and the implications. "This is the largest trafficking operation discovered in 200 years, she said. "It appears to have been operating for decades without detection. That means either the Galactic Commerce Authority is incompetent, which is unlikely, or they know about it and are allowing it to continue." The Russian representative spoke first. "This is not our problem. These are alien species in alien space, far from our borders. We should not interfere. Except for the humans, said the Chinese representative. Those are our people. Those children belong to humanity. Exactly, Emma said. But this is bigger than just the humans. This is about what kind of species we are. Do we know about slavery and do nothing? Or do we act? The debate lasted for 6 hours. The Australian representative wanted to send a rescue mission immediately. The Indian representative wanted to investigate more carefully. The Japanese representative raised questions about legal authority and jurisdiction. Emma listened to it all. She knew what was happening. They were afraid. Earth had only been part of galactic civilization for 20 years. They had been careful to follow rules, to stay neutral, to avoid conflict. They had built relationships through trade and diplomacy, not through military action. Now they faced a choice. Stay safe or do the right thing. Finally, Sarah Williams from the North American Union asked to speak. She was young for a diplomat, only 32 years old, but she was brilliant. She had studied alien species and human behavior for a decade. I understand the fear, Sarah said. I understand why we hesitate. We are new to this galaxy. We do not have the largest military. We do not have unlimited resources. We are small compared to empires that have existed for thousands of years. She paused. Everyone listened. But humanity has never been strong because of weapons or empires. We've always been strong because we do what is right, even when it is hard. Even when it costs us. That is who we are. That is what makes us human. She stood and looked directly at the other representatives. If we know that children are being enslaved and we do nothing, we are not being smart. We are being cowardly. We are abandoning who we are to protect comfort. I say we respond. I say we send a rescue mission. I say we do not let slavery exist in a galaxy where humanity has the power to stop it. The room fell silent. Then Director Nathan Brooks spoke. I move for an immediate humanitarian and military response. We gather allies, we plan carefully, and we strike at this operation with full force. The vote was clear. 9 nations supported action. 2 abstained. Only Russia voted against. Within hours, the UN military command began mobilizing. They contacted the Alpha Station near the Kepler sector and ordered immediate preparations. They reached out to friendly alien species known to oppose the Galactic Commerce Authority. They began planning a coordinated assault. Emma was made leader of the diplomatic team. Her role was to convince neutral worlds to support the mission. She did not hesitate. She traveled between stations and planets. She showed other species the same evidence that had shocked the Security Council. The response surprised her. A Krell warrior named Thorn requested a meeting with her personally. The Krell were known as fighters. They had little interest in diplomacy. But Thorn was different. My people were enslaved by this authority, Thorn said. 50 years ago, they took our children. My sister was one of them. We did not rescue them in time. I did not know this operation still existed. Thorn's scaled face was hard to read, but Emma could hear the emotion in his voice. Your species is willing to fight against them? Emma asked. We are more than willing, Thorn said. We are eager. We have waited for the chance to strike back. We will join your force. We will bring warriors. This ends. Similar responses came from other species. The Varth, who had been victims of authority brutality. The Mech Collective, whose entire supply chain had been controlled and exploited by the authority. The Soren, who valued freedom above all else. Within 2 weeks, Emma had assembled a coalition of 8 different species, each bringing military forces. 20,000 warriors from a dozen worlds were preparing to move against the Commerce Authority's operation. The Authority did not know what was coming. Back at the hidden station, the enslaved children continued to work in the mines. Captain Jake Morrison and his crew were still in the area, watching, recording, and waiting for reinforcements. The guards beat children who moved too slowly. The facility managers calculated profit margins. The operation ran like it had for decades. None of them suspected that the galaxy was about to change. Emma stood in the command center on Alpha Station and watched the fleet assemble. Ships of every design and color began to gather in the staging area. Military vessels with weapons and armor. Transport ships for the rescued children. Medical vessels for treating the survivors. Director Nathan Brooks walked up beside her. "You did this," he said. "You convinced them." "They wanted to be convinced," Emma replied. "They just needed someone to give them permission. Someone to show them that standing up to the authority was possible. That we could fight back. And if we lose?" Nathan asked. Emma did not answer right away. She watched the ships assembling in space. Then she said, "We will not lose. We cannot. Those children are counting on us. Humanity is counting on us. We are going to win because we have to. Because we are the species that does the right thing, no matter what the price." The fleet was ready. The plan was set. In 48 hours, they would move against the Commerce Authority. The price of compassion was about to be collected, and the cosmos would never be the same. The mining station became more secure every day. Captain Jake Morrison watched from a distance as new guards arrived. Weapons were moved into position. The Commerce Authority was preparing for something. Jake did not think they knew about the fleet approaching from Earth, but they knew they had been discovered. They were taking precautions. Jake made contact with the underground resistance on the station. There were workers who were not slaves, but sympathized with the children's suffering. They passed information through hidden channels. The authority was preparing for conflict. They did not know when or from where, but they knew something was coming. Jake increased the rescue team's readiness. His crew of 12 was joined by 6 more personnel who arrived on a secret shuttle from Alpha Station. These were military specialists trained in extraction and hostage rescue. They studied the station's layout. They created plans for every possible scenario. But Jake knew 12 soldiers could not assault the station with 50 armed guards. The rescue would only work if the larger coalition provided support. If the fleet from Earth arrived and created the distraction needed. Meanwhile, Emma continued her diplomatic work. She met with Krell warriors in their command ship. The Krell were different from humans. They were tall, with scales covering their bodies and strength that seemed impossible. But they shared humanity's anger at injustice. Thorn, the Krell commander, showed Emma the weapons his people had brought. Military-grade plasma cannons, shield generators, fast attack vessels. The Krell did not believe in light responses. They believed in overwhelming force. "How many warriors?" Emma asked. 3,000, Thorn said. "Each one has trained to fight the authority. Each one remembers what the authority took from them. They will fight with everything they have." Emma met with other alien leaders. The Vorath sent 500 soldiers and medical personnel. The Mech Collective contributed technology and engineering support. The Sarans sent diplomatic observers to ensure the rescue operation followed humanitarian principles. By the 3rd week, the coalition fleet had grown to 30,000 warriors and support personnel. It was impressive for such a short time. It showed that the authority had made enemies across the galaxy. These enemies had been waiting for someone else to strike first. Humanity had given them that opportunity. Emma gathered the military commanders for the final planning session. Species from 8 different worlds sat around a conference table. They looked nothing alike. A Krell commander sat next to a Mech Collective consciousness. A Saran diplomat shared space with a Vorath military officer. "The rescue operation must be primary," Emma said. "We are not here to destroy the station. We are here to free the children. Everything else is secondary. The authority will not surrender, said the Vorath commander. His name was difficult to pronounce, but everyone called him VOR. They will fight. Then we fight, Emma said. But we minimize civilian casualties. We minimize damage to the facility. And we extract every child from that station. The human military commander, Colonel David Foster, presented the assault plan. 3 coordinated strike teams would approach from different directions. The Krell would provide air support and shield the escape routes. The mech would disable the station's defensive systems. The Vorath would secure the mine tunnels. The Sarin would provide medical support and transport for the children. The timing must be perfect, Colonel Foster said. 1 minute late and we lose surprise. 1 minute early and we do not have everyone in position. They practiced the assault dozens of times. Simulations showed a 90% success rate. Computer models suggested minimum casualties if everything went according to plan. But everyone in the room knew that real combat never followed the plan exactly. Back at the hidden station, Captain Jake Morrison received a coded message. The fleet would arrive in 72 hours. The assault would begin at dawn on the 3rd day. Jake met with his rescue team. 2 soldiers named Greg Chen and Lisa Park would lead the extraction of children from the lower mines. Engineer Michael Davis would cut through the locked doors. Dr. Sarah Kim would manage the medical aspects of the rescue. The remaining personnel would secure routes and protect the children from guards. The authority might use the children as shields, Jake told his team. We have to be prepared for that. We extract them without harming them, even if it costs us. Captain, they are children, Lisa said. Some of them are very young. Some of them are very young. Younger than 8 years. I know, Jake said. That is why we do this right. No matter what the cost. 3 days passed with agonizing slowness. The Coalition fleet moved toward the Kepler sector. In the space near the station, Jake's rescue team waited in hidden positions. Then the moment arrived. The Coalition fleet appeared on the station's sensors. Alarm systems activated immediately. The authority launched defensive measures. Jake watched the sky light up as ships moved into position. The Krell attack fighters screamed down from above, weapons firing. The station's defensive cannons returned fire. Space became a chaos of explosions and light. Jake opened the communication channel. All teams, move now. His soldiers rushed toward the station. The guards at the entrances were distracted by the space battle above them. Some guards abandoned their posts to help with the station's defense. Others tried to fortify the security positions. Greg Chun and Lisa Park reached the mine tunnel entrance. The heavy doors were sealed. Michael Davis used a plasma cutter to burn through them. It took 90 seconds. It felt like 90 minutes. Inside, the children looked up from their work. They saw soldiers in protective armor. Some children recognized Captain Morrison's uniform as different from the guards they knew. "We are here to rescue you," Jake said in simple, clear words. "We are taking you to safety. Follow us now." The children did not move. Fear had paralyzed them. Some started crying. Others cowered away from the soldiers. Dr. Sarah Kim stepped forward. She removed her helmet. She was a woman with a kind face. Children understood kindness. "My name is Dr. Kim," she said gently. "You are safe now. We are humans like you. We have come to take you home." The human children began to move. The alien children watched them and followed. Slowly, then faster, the children moved toward the exit. The guards realized what was happening. They rushed toward the tunnels. Gunfire erupted. Jake's soldiers returned fire. One guard fell, then another. But more guards were coming. The rescue team pushed the children forward. Lisa Park stayed behind with 2 soldiers to hold the guards at bay. She radioed Jake. "Go, Captain. Get them out. We will hold the line." Jake wanted to argue. Lisa was one of his best officers. But he knew what had to be done. "Fall back when you can," he ordered. "Regroup at the extraction point." The children reached the surface. Coalition soldiers were securing the landing zone. Transport ships were descending to pick them up. Krell fighters provided covering fire against guards who tried to advance. Jake counted the children as they boarded the transports. 47 humans, hundreds of other species, all moving away from the station, all moving towards safety. Lisa Park emerged from the tunnels with her soldiers. One was wounded but walking. They rushed to the last transport. As the ships lifted away from the station, Jake watched through a viewport. Guards fired uselessly at the departing vessels. The space battle continued above them, but it no longer mattered. The children were leaving. The rescue was succeeding. Jake made a communication to the coalition commanders. "The children are out," he said. "Extraction is complete." "Repeat, extraction is complete." There was a moment of silence. Then cheer erupted across the coalition fleet. The Krell warriors howled their battle cry. The Vara soldiers celebrated. The Mech consciousness processed the victory. The Commerce Authority facility was no longer important. The children were safe. That was all that mattered. As the transport ships jumped to faster than light speed and began heading toward friendly space, Jake allowed himself to breathe. They had done it. They had actually done it. The cosmos was about to learn what happened when humanity decided to fight. The Commerce Authority did not collapse easily. When they learned that their enslaved children had been rescued, they responded with rage and force. Emergency broadcasts went out from their central command. Every authority facility, every controlled station, every military installation received orders. Prepare for war. Defend the organization. Eliminate the threat. The coalition had anticipated this. Emma Rodriguez and Colonel Foster had planned for a larger conflict. The rescue operation was only the first phase. The real battle was just beginning. The Commerce Authority controlled significant military resources. They had built their power over 200 years through commerce and control. They had weapons, ships, and trained soldiers. They also had something else. They had the loyalty of many minor governments and trading organizations that depended on authority support. The authority launched attacks across the sector. They struck at coalition positions with coordinated assaults. Transport ships carrying rescued children came under fire. Coalition warships responded with overwhelming force. Colonel David Foster stood in the command center on Alpha Station and watched the battles unfold across multiple screens. Each screen showed a different engagement. Some coalition forces were taking casualties. Some were advancing successfully. Foster made tactical decisions. He redirected ships to reinforce weak positions. He moved fighter squadrons to protect the transport vessels carrying children. He coordinated with Krell commanders and Vorath officers. The Krell warriors were brutal and effective. When authority ships attacked, the Krell responded with crushing force. They did not hesitate. They did not show mercy. They had been enslaved by the authority for generations. Now they had the chance to fight back. Thorn, the Krell commander, led assault after assault against authority positions. His warriors destroyed 3 authority battleships and captured 2 others. The captured ships were repurposed immediately and turned against the authority's remaining forces. Meanwhile, Emma Rodriguez was not in combat. She was doing something equally important. She was working on the authority's internal collapse. Emma had access to classified authority databases captured during the rescue operation. She had found something devastating. The authority leadership kept their own families on protected stations. Safe from danger, comfortable, hidden. When she released information showing that the authority was enslaving even the children of their own leadership, something broke inside the organization. Military commanders questioned their loyalty. Government officials demanded explanations. Support crumbled. Emma sent the information to every aligned government in the authority. She showed evidence that authority leaders were profiting from slavery, while the galaxy thought it was working to prevent trafficking. The hypocrisy was too great to ignore. Systems began to break away. Local governments withdrew support. Military vessels stopped following orders. Entire stations switched sides and joined the coalition. The authority tried to maintain control through violence. They executed commanders who refused to fight. They destroyed stations that attempted to surrender. They fought with the desperation of an organization facing extinction. But desperation was not enough. The final blow came when the authority's supreme leader, an alien known as Governor Hess, was found attempting to flee the sector with his family. His own personal security detail, officers he had trusted for decades, turned against him. They arrested him at the launch pad of his escape vessel. When the coalition forces boarded the flagship to take formal surrender, they found Governor Hess and 19 other top authority officials waiting. They did not resist. They understood that they had lost everything. The battles lasted for 17 days. By the end, the Commerce Authority had ceased to exist as a functional organization. Their military was destroyed. Their leadership was captured. Their facilities were secured. The casualties were significant. 47 Krell warriors died. 23 Vorath soldiers were killed. 12 human soldiers and 7 coalition military personnel from other species perished. Hundreds more wounded. But more than 20,000 enslaved children had been freed. As the fighting ended, Emma took on a new role. She led the formal proceedings against the captured authority leadership. It was a trial, but not in any traditional sense. The authority had broken every law of the galactic civilization. They had enslaved entire species. They had hidden their crimes. They had fought when they should have surrendered. Governor Hess stood before the coalition tribunal and heard the charges read against him. Slavery of sentient beings, trafficking of children, abuse and torture, murder of those who resisted. He had no defense. The evidence was overwhelming. The testimony of thousands of freed children supported every charge. The tribunal pronounced sentence: life imprisonment on a secure station separate from any government. The other authority leaders received similar sentences. They would spend the remainder of their lives in detention, knowing what they had done and the cost of their actions. But Emma's work was not finished. She created the Unified Recovery Protocol, a framework for helping the rescued children heal. Medical centers were established on neutral stations. Trauma specialists from different species worked together to treat the psychological damage. Educational programs helped the children understand what had happened to them. The human children from the lost colony were especially significant. They had been captive their entire lives. Many did not remember Earth. Some did not know that other humans existed. Emma worked with a team of psychologists to help them understand their heritage and their future. One young girl, named Jessica, was 7 years old. She had been born into slavery. She had no memories of freedom. When Dr. Sarah Kim first examined her, Jessica could not understand why she was not working, why she had food without earning it, why adults were being kind to her. Am I being punished? Jessica asked. No, sweetheart, Dr. Kim said. You are being helped. You are going to be healthy and happy. Jessica did not understand. But slowly, over weeks, she began to. She began to eat without fear. She began to sleep without nightmares. She began to smile. Captain Jake Morrison visited the recovery centers regularly. He made it his responsibility to see what his actions had created. He wanted to understand the lives he had saved. He walked through the medical wards and saw children at different stages of recovery. Some were still frightened. Some were beginning to heal. Some were starting to laugh and play like children should. In one recovery center, Jake found a group of alien children playing together. A small Vorath child was teaching human children a game from her culture. A Krell young one was showing the humans how to move with his people's unique flexibility. Species that had been enslaved together were becoming friends. Jake realized something crucial. This was what they had fought for. Not just freedom from slavery, but the chance for children to be children, to play, to learn, to have a future. Emma stood with Jake and watched the children. She was exhausted. The battle had taken everything from her, but she did not regret anything. "We did what we were supposed to do," she said. "More than that," Jake replied. "We showed the galaxy what we are. We showed them that some things are worth fighting for." Emma nodded. She thought about the Earth governments that had voted to act. She thought about the alien species that had joined the coalition. She thought about Thorn and his Krell warriors. She thought about all the individuals who had chosen to stand against the authority. "It is finished," she said, but they both knew it was not truly finished. The real work was just beginning, healing the survivors and making sure that something like this could never happen again. 3 months after the final battle, the galaxy was changing in ways that no one had predicted. Humanity had not just rescued children. They had shifted the balance of power across entire regions of space. Emma Rodriguez stood in the United Nations Hall on Earth. Representatives from every nation on the planet filled the chamber. News media broadcast the session live across all platforms. Billions of humans watched. The vote was ceremonial. The outcome was never in doubt. The UN voted unanimously to establish the Office of Liberation and Protection, a permanent organization dedicated to stopping slavery and exploitation across the galaxy. Emma was named its director. She stood and accepted the position with a brief speech. She did not make false promises. She did not claim that slavery was ended forever. She only said that humanity would fight against it, wherever it existed, for as long as it took. Across the galaxy, the effects of the authority's collapse continued to spread. Governments aligned with the authority scrambled to distance themselves from it. Some collapsed entirely. Others reformed with new leadership. The power vacuum created opportunities for previously marginalized species to build new futures. The Sauron offered to help establish new democratic systems on worlds that had been under authority control. The Mech Collective used their technological advantage to improve infrastructure on devastated stations. The Vorath worked to track down remaining slavers and trafficking networks, but humanity became known for something else. They became the protectors of the innocent. When word spread that human ships would respond to reports of slavery, planets began reaching out. When humans arrived, they came with medical personnel, engineers, and soldiers. They came ready to fight. They came ready to save lives. Some older galactic powers were nervous about humanity's newfound aggression. The Xanthi Collective, rulers of a vast territory, called for a summit to address human imperialism. They claimed that Earth was using the slavery issue as an excuse to expand their influence. Emma attended the summit with a clear message. Humanity does not want your territory. We do not want your resources. We want one thing. We want slavery to end. If you want to trade with us, if you want to ally with us, then free your slaves. That is the only requirement. The Xanthi threatened military action. Emma did not back down. She showed them data about human weapons capabilities. She introduced them to the Krell warriors who had pledged to stand with humanity against any threat to the liberation campaign. The Xanthi disbanded the summit and went home. Within a month, they had released more than 5,000 enslaved beings from their territory. Back at the primary recovery center, Captain Jake Morrison worked as a permanent resident. His command of the research vessel had ended. He chose instead to oversee the rehabilitation of the freed children. The center was large now, covering several city blocks on a neutral station. Medical wings treated physical injuries and disease. Educational sections taught children about the galaxy and their own cultures. Recreation areas allowed them to play and heal emotionally. Jake's daily routine involved walking through the center, checking on individual children, and coordinating with the medical staff. He had become something more than a soldier or a captain. He had become what the children called a protector. One afternoon, a young human girl named Sarah ran up to him. She was one of the survivors from the lost colony, now 10 years old and recovering well. "Captain Morrison," she said breathlessly, "we finished the mural." "Show me," Jake said. Sarah led him to a large wall that had been empty 6 weeks ago. Now it was covered with a painting created by the children themselves. It showed dozens of species working together. It showed ships arriving at the hidden station. It showed children running free. In the corner, painted in bold colors, were the words, "Humanity saved us." Jake felt something tighten in his chest. He knelt down beside Sarah. "This is beautiful," he said. "Do you know why humans came to help you?" "Because we are children," Sarah asked. "Yes," Jake said, "but also because humans believe that all life is valuable, that every being deserves freedom, that no one should be enslaved, no matter what species they are." Sarah considered this. "I am going to tell my children about this. When I grow up and have children, I'm going to tell them that humans came and saved us. I am going to tell them that humans are good." Jake hugged her. He did not know what else to say. Emma and director Nathan Brooks met on Earth, in the same office where they had first learned about the enslaved children. The victory felt distant now. The work never ended. "The Galactic Council is requesting formal membership for Earth," Nathan said. "They want us to have a seat at the decision table. Equal voice with all other species." Emma studied the documents. Full membership meant responsibilities. It meant Earth would be obligated to help defend weaker species. It meant being part of galactic politics in ways that went far beyond trade and diplomacy. "What do you think?" Nathan asked. "I think we earned this," Emma said. "Not through weapons or dominance, but through choice. We chose to do what was right, even when it cost us." Nathan nodded. "The Security Council wants your recommendation." "Tell them yes," Emma said. "Tell them that humanity accepts a seat on the Galactic Council. Tell them we accept the responsibility. Tell them we will never forget that there are children in the darkness who need someone to fight for them." As news of Earth's formal acceptance of Galactic Council membership spread across the galaxy, something shifted in how the universe viewed humanity. They were no longer the young species trying to fit in. They were the species that had changed the game. They were the protectors. More worlds came forward. More cases of slavery and exploitation were exposed. The Unified Recovery Protocol expanded to dozens of sites. Millions of beings were freed over the following years, but the most significant impact was something less visible. Young beings across the galaxy began to believe that freedom was possible, that help could arrive from unexpected places, that the strong would sometimes choose to protect the weak. Jake Morrison, now older and with gray appearing in his hair, returned to the hidden mining station one final time. The slavery operation had been converted into something new, a memorial and museum. The mine tunnels were preserved exactly as they had been. Visitors could see where the children had worked. They could see the conditions they had endured. Jake stood in the deepest tunnel and remembered the first time he had seen it on thermal imaging. He remembered the helplessness and rage he had felt. He remembered deciding that something would be done. He placed a hand on the rock wall and made a promise to the children, who are no longer trapped here. We will remember. We will fight. We will not let this happen again. 30 years later, when Jake Morrison was old and retired, he would often tell the story to his grandchildren. He would show them the mural painted by the freed children. He would explain what it meant. Humanity discovered enslaved children on a hidden station, he would say, and we chose to save them. That choice changed everything. That choice made us who we truly are. The children would listen, their eyes wide, understanding that their grandmother and grandfather's species had done something extraordinary, something that mattered, something that echoed across the galaxy and changed the future forever, and in billions of homes across 1,000 worlds. Freed beings told their own children the same story. The story of how one species, barely known to the galaxy, had risked everything to protect the innocent. The story of how humanity discovered enslaved children and paid the price to set them free. The cosmos would never forget. And neither would the children who survived to tell the tale.